love the Eagles as much as we do, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay locked in with us here at Eagles Nest News, because this is where all the real talk happens, the drama, the hype, and the stories that make being an Eagles fan a full-time passion. Let's get into it. Tonight, I'm sitting here on the couch, got the double TV setup running, keeping one eye on Monday Night Football between the Chiefs and the Commanders, and the other on Game 3 of the World Series between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. As a kid, baseball was actually my first love. I used to sit there listening to Phillies broadcasts with Harry Kalas, and those games are what made me fall in love with sports in the first place. But no matter what else is on, I've always got time to talk Eagles because this team always gives us something to talk about. Philadelphia just made a couple of interesting roster moves as we inch closer to the NFL trade deadline. It's that time of year when everyone starts speculating about what Howie Roseman might be cooking up. You never really know what's coming, but history tells us that Howie is never asleep when opportunities present themselves. So here's what's gone down. The Eagles released cornerback Perry Nickerson from the active roster. He's been in the mix over the past few weeks, mainly because of the injuries in the secondary, especially with Jacorian Bennett being on injured reserve. Nickerson stepped up when needed, but now that Bennett's recovery is progressing, this move signals that the team is preparing to shuffle things around. They also let go of defensive end Titus Leo from the practice squad, which seems to be tied to Bennett's eventual return. The Eagles officially opened Bennett's practice window last week, and he was a full participant by the end of it, though he didn't play against the Giants. That was a bit of a surprise because Adoree Jackson didn't suit up either. My guess is they're taking the cautious route with Bennett to make sure he's completely ready after the bye. When he comes back, it's expected he'll immediately be back in the competition for that second cornerback spot opposite Quinyon Mitchell. Nickerson, who had an impressive preseason showing with his versatility inside and out, could very well be re-signed to the practice squad, which would explain Titus Leo being the odd man out. Vic Fangio mentioned before that the team never got a long, fair look at Bennett as the true number 2 corner. So this bye week feels like the perfect time to reset and see what he brings to the table. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because the Eagles' secondary is at a crossroads. I'm personally done watching Adoree Jackson get cooked. He's a veteran, but the production just isn't there. The future should be about guys like Kelee Ringo and Jacorian Bennett, both young, fast, and hungry. Against the Giants, Ringo quietly had his best performance of the season. And when a corner's name isn't called much during a game, that's usually a very good sign. He held his ground, graded out at 79.8 in coverage according to Pro Football Focus, his highest mark yet. Sure, the Giants' receivers aren't exactly elite, but the confidence boost is real. That kind of outing can change how Fangio and the defensive staff see the rotation going forward. Coming out of the bye, the Eagles will face the Packers, and the question now is, who starts opposite Quinyon Mitchell? Is it Ringo? Is it Bennett? Or do they rotate snaps to test both? And hanging over all of that, will Howie Roseman make a move before the deadline to bring in another corner? ESPN's Adam Schefter mentioned earlier today that he'd be surprised if Howie didn't do something. And honestly, I'd agree with him. Howie has built his reputation as one of the most aggressive general managers in football, always pushing to strengthen the roster no matter how good the team already looks. Since training camp, he's been active on the trade front. He made the move for Fred Johnson just before the final roster cuts, and that's already paid dividends. Johnson has filled in beautifully when Lane Johnson's been out, and the Eagles have been using that heavy offensive line package with 6 linemen to great success. It's opened up the play-action game for Jalen Hurts and made the ground attack even more effective. I actually broke down some of those jumbo sets in a film study earlier. If you love line play, you'd be amazed at the details there. Fred Johnson was one of several under-the-radar moves Howie pulled off. After the Will Shipley injury, he went out and got Tank Bigsby, and that move has aged like fine wine. Bigsby ran for over 100 yards against the Giants, making him the first Eagles back in over a decade to be part of a duo where both runners topped the century mark in the same game. He's physical, tough, and hits the gaps with power, exactly what this offense needed behind Saquon Barkley. Meanwhile, Will Shipley slides into the RB3 role, and A.J. Dillon has quietly fallen out of the picture entirely. That's a deep backfield rotation for a team built around controlling the line of scrimmage. Add to that the earlier trade for Jacorian Bennett and the pickup of John Mechie, both younger, controllable players under contract next season, and you start to see a clear pattern. Howie isn't just making moves for this year. He's already laying the groundwork for next season. Mechie's situation is especially notable. After missing his rookie year while battling leukemia, he's now a restricted free agent. The Eagles can easily keep him around if they see potential, but right now, he hasn't been a big part of the passing game. He barely got targets, even with A.J. Brown sidelined, which might point to lingering effects from that ACL injury he suffered at Alabama. He's a great story, a hard worker, and I still believe there's a role for him once he's fully healthy. But so far, he hasn't been the same explosive player we saw in college. As for trades, the big question remains. Will the Eagles make a splash for another pass rusher or corner? Those are still the two biggest needs on the roster. The defense looked its best all year in that win over the Giants, sacking Jackson Dart 5 times and generating 24 quarterback pressures. That's domination. Nolan Smith is set to return after the bye. Brandon Graham is ready to make his season debut following his brief retirement, and those reinforcements almost feel like trade additions in themselves. So I can honestly see both sides of the argument. If Howie stays quiet, it might be because the depth is about to fix itself. But if he does pull the trigger on a deal, don't expect a blockbuster like Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson. That would cost too much in draft capital. More likely, we'd see something around a 3rd or 4th round pick, something surgical, not seismic. And then there's the fan drama. Because what's an Eagles week without that? Giants fans have been absolutely losing it online. For decades, Philly's been treated like the scrappy little brother to New York, even though these two cities are barely separated by a 2-hour drive. The history, the energy, the rivalry, it's real, but the sensitivity from Giants fans lately has been unreal. They're still crying about officiating after getting beaten 38-20. Yes, some calls were bad, but it went both ways. That's football. Acting like referees decided the game when your team gets dominated up and down the field, that's delusion. The Eagles are 16-4 against the Giants in their last 20 meetings. That's not luck. That's ownership. So while New York fans are on Twitter inventing conspiracies, Philly fans were showing class, giving Cam Scatboo a standing ovation when he got carted off, visiting him in the hospital, sending love his way. And yet, with the ones they call the worst fan base in sports, please, Giants fans, take the L. You got beat fair and square. The officiating didn't beat you. The Eagles did. Giants fans spent the whole week melting down, posting clips, and blaming referees for everything that went wrong. One moment, they're crying about a missed holding call. The next, they're complaining that Darius Slayton got robbed on a pass interference. It's like they forgot that football is a contact sport and that officiating always cuts both ways. There was even a viral clip going around of Lane Johnson grabbing a defender by the neck, and Giant fans were screaming for a flag, totally ignoring the play where Nakobe Dean got tackled on what became a Giants touchdown. It's always selective outrage when it comes to that fan base. And honestly, I get it. When a team owns you for 20 games, you have to find something to complain about. But blaming the refs instead of acknowledging that your quarterback got sacked 5 times and your defense couldn't stop the run, that's just denial. And that's what makes this rivalry so fun. Philly doesn't cry. Philly responds. The Eagles fan base is passionate, loud, and yes, sometimes chaotic, but it's real. They'll be you when you deserve it and cheer you when you earn it. That's what sets this city apart from the rest. We love accountability. Giants fans love excuses. Even after the game, they were bringing up the Super Bowl, saying, "Oh, officiating cost the Eagles before too." Yeah, guess what? The Eagles didn't lose that Super Bowl just because of a holding call. They lost because of turnovers, missed tackles, and a defense that couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes. It's football. Every game has mistakes, and the best teams overcome them. The Eagles are one of those teams. The Giants aren't. Now let's circle back to what's next for the Birds, because the bye week is here, and it's coming at a perfect time. This roster has been through the ringer. Injuries have hit hard, especially in the secondary and at linebacker. The break gives everyone a chance to reset before the push into November and December, when playoff seeding starts to take shape. The Packers await in Week 10, and that's a matchup that could tell us a lot. Green Bay's been up and down, but they've got enough firepower to test that secondary. It's the ideal situation for Fangio to experiment. Maybe Ringo and Bennett both get significant snaps to see who grabs that CB2 job for good. And when the Eagles get back, the reinforcements are coming. Nolan Smith, the rookie edge rusher who's flashed but hasn't been fully unleashed, is expected to return. Brandon Graham, the heart and soul of this defense, is finally back in a mix. Those two coming off the edge alongside Josh Sweat and Haason Reddick make this front terrifying again. That's how you win late in the season. Fresh legs on the defensive line. It's why Howie may not feel the need to overpay for a big-name pass rusher. When your veterans are healthy and your young guys are ready, that's your trade deadline edition right there. Still, Howie Roseman isn't one to sit still. There's a real chance he makes a calculated move, maybe something quiet but meaningful. A mid-round pick for a versatile corner who can play inside and out? Totally plausible. A rotational defensive lineman who can stuff the run and free up Jordan Davis? Also possible. What's clear is that Howie has built a roster that's not desperate. The Eagles aren't looking for a savior. They're looking for the missing puzzle piece that pushes them from good to elite. Offensively, things are clicking again. The addition of Fred Johnson to that six lineman look has brought back the power identity that defined this team during the Super Bowl run. The play action is working. Jalen Hurts looks more comfortable under center, and the running game has rediscovered its rhythm. Saquon Barkley looks rejuvenated behind this line, and Tank Bigsby is proving to be the perfect complement. Young, aggressive, and fearless. The Eagles now have a backfield that can wear down any defense. You combine that with Devonta Smith's precision and A.J. Brown's dominance on the perimeter, and suddenly, this offense looks unstoppable when it's balanced. But balance is the key. That's what Nick Sirianni's preaching every week, finding the right mix of run, pass, and tempo. When the Eagles lean too heavy on Hurts to throw 40 times, they lose their identity. When they stay patient, pound the rock, and use play action, they look like the best team in the NFC. The offensive line sets the tone, and as long as Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata are anchoring the edges, Hurts will have time to pick defenses apart. Speaking of Hurts, his leadership has been elite lately. You can see how much control he has over the offense, adjusting protections, reading coverages, keeping composure even when plays break down. That's what separates him from most quarterbacks in this league. He doesn't need to be flashy. He just needs to be steady. He's the heartbeat of this locker room, and his calm presence is contagious. You can see it in how the young players carry themselves, how the veterans rally around him, and how this team refuses to panic no matter the situation. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In an unprecedented twist that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, the league has officially announced the cancellation of the much-anticipated matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Buffalo Bills. Sources close to the matter suggest that the decision was far from routine, sparking a flurry of speculation, conspiracy theories, and heated debates among fans, analysts, and players alike. The announcement came just hours after reports emerged of new, seemingly damning footage that allegedly exposes outright theft impacting the integrity of the game. While the NFL has remained tight-lipped about the specifics, insiders hint that these images depict a scenario so alarming that league officials had no choice but to pull the plug on the contest. Fans, meanwhile, have taken to social media in droves, dissecting frame-by-frame screenshots, debating the veracity of the claims, and questioning the very foundations of fair play in professional football. Among the murmurs, some speculate that the alleged theft could involve crucial equipment tampering or the unauthorized manipulation of game signals, an act that, if confirmed, would be nothing short of scandalous. Others suggest it might even point to insider trading of play calls or film, a scenario straight out of a sports thriller. Regardless of the details, the impact on both teams is undeniable. The Panthers and Bills, each with playoff ambitions and rosters firing on all cylinders, are now left in limbo, unsure when or if the game will be rescheduled. Adding fuel to the fire, former players and analysts have started weighing in, some claiming that similar incidents have happened behind the scenes in past seasons, only to be quietly swept under the rug. The league's response, or lack thereof, has been met with skepticism, with fans calling for transparency and accountability. In the meantime, speculation continues to mount. Who is behind the alleged theft? How deep does it run? And most importantly, will this shocking revelation change the course of the season? As the NFL navigates this storm, one thing is clear. The canceled Panthers-Bills matchup is no longer just a game. It's a story that could redefine how fans, teams, and the league itself perceive the fragile boundary between competition and chaos. For now, all eyes remain glued to the unfolding drama, with every new post, tweet, and rumor feeding a wildfire of intrigue that refuses to die down. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.